Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final match of the Golden League Pot of Gold tournament. This is as I said, the final match, but this is where all the bacon goes. Whoever takes this is the winner of the entire tournament and takes home $700. Today, I am joined with my co-caster, that being Ito.
Hello, hello. I mean, first off, I just want to talk about this match real quick because it is going to be a rematch between, what is it, Rebirth and Sora's Anime Boomers. But
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a twist. Do you want to announce the twist, be the voice behind it all?
Well, so far these two rosters have gone up against each other in two different best of threes. Rebirth won the first one, I believe, 2-0, if I'm not mistaken, and then Sora's Anime Boomers won the second one 2-1. And now tonight we actually have three different subs, one for the side of Rebirth and two for the side of Sora's Anime Boomers. So the sub we have coming in for the side of Rebirth is Reality. He is, excuse me, I have a sneeze coming through. Whoa.
Oh,
There it is. Awesome.
going to be the first big play of tonight.
There it is. But our very first sub for today is Reality, who is, of course, a MDL player with the team Recon 5, who, after making it into the MDL playoffs, they did lose out 2-0. And then the two subs coming in for Sora's Anime Boomers are Miniature, who is another MDL player for the team Keep the Comms Up, as well as ENG, who is an advanced player for Supernova, who also has history playing in MDL with teams like Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and also Gramps is Bald.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of experience being able to cast Ange, so I feel pretty comfortable with kind of what he could bring to this roster. I mean, what are your immediate thoughts like seeing these two players step in? Because again, this is the final BO3 that we're going to be seeing between these two teams, and it's for the grand final for all the money for the pot of gold, I guess you could even say. But like, is this going to change up either one of their styles, you think, at all, or is it just going to be,
Um,
there's going to be more aggressive? I don't know what you kind of expect out of this.
yeah, this is a really weird lineup coming on. And actually, I have to correct myself. Sora's and Rebirth didn't play each other. Sora's were knocked down to the losers bracket by Cyberstorm, I believe. So excuse me for that. But this is um, this is a really weird match just because, I mean, of course, the players have been given this ability to bring in these other players. That is just something that we kind of brought in just from the rulebook. But it shows that these players want this goal a lot, but I'm a little bit concerned because the bringing in of new players could change some of the dynamics of these teams. Sora's Anime
Exactly.
Boomers have been a pretty puggy team in the past, but they still are a team that play together. So I'm interested to see if maybe at least getting into it, at least starting up, these players are somewhat rough with each other. I'm sure as the games go on, if we get to a third map, I'm sure we'll see both of these rosters in their top form as much as, a pug it can be. But, I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of, top tier team play coming through from either of these teams tonight.
So, I mean, I guess on that note, what do you think will be happening when it comes to map vetoes? Do you think we're going to be seeing, the typical Mirage D2? Or do you think, like, Rebirth, since they still have that core of four who have played together a decent amount, are they going to bring out something, Train, Nuke, something of the sort, maybe try to play a bit more of a tactical game versus Sora's?
Well, actually, we do have the picks and bans coming in. It is the
Okay.
same three maps that we saw yesterday in the last best of three,
Oh.
just in a different order. So our first map is going to be Mirage. This is the pick of Rebirth, and then we're going to Inferno, which is the pick of Sora's Anime Boomers, and then we will, if necessary, be going to a decider of Train. So it is kind of those more puggy maps that you were just saying. Train being, excuse me,
The
the
notable outlier.
yeah, the one that is the least common
Uh,
out of all of them. So I think it could be an interesting map. It's basically, at least the first map is going to be a fight of who can really get comfortable with everyone else as fast as possible. Whereas the other maps may come down more to aiming and stuff. Of course, Mirage is a hardcore pug map and a hardcore aim map. So honestly, this could go either way.
It could go either way, and that's why I think it's like probably the scary prospect of it. Because again, 3 out of the 10 players are going to be not their typical, two from one team, one from the other. Not exactly the lineup that you're going to be expecting. Because I feel just because of that in itself, Mirage is really going to be deciding it all. Obviously, it's best of three. We're going to be seeing three maps quite possibly, and I just think simply because of that, it could be really, really scary for, I'd say, Rebirth, honestly. I want to give a little bit of an edge to Rebirth here, but we will have to see. It looks like we're about ready to get started here. It's going to be Rep Boy, who really, I honestly, that's one of those aliases that always seems to mess me up. I never know how to pronounce it right, but I have a lot of hope, honestly, for anime boomers here. I feel like just because of the names by themselves, I have to give a little bit of an edge to them, but I'm curious on what your thoughts are on this, Colin.
I mean, it's the safe choice is to go towards anime boomers. They not only won the last best of 3 that they had against Rebirth that we saw just yesterday, they also have on paper more firepower. They are what used to be an advanced team, and they also have 2 players with NBL experience subbing in for tonight. So both of those factors make me say on paper I think they're going to take this. I do think Rebirth have a chance. They've shown that they can go toe to toe with these big hitters, but I mean, if I'm going fully literal, I'm gonna have to say that we're going the way of anime boomers. But woo, that was a quick headshot.
Yeah, reality gets things off to a great start. I mean, anime boomers, it shows like the lack of respect. They just toss a single smoke over towards connector, but let's start pushing in. The CTs, however, are just completely making a firing range out of anime boomers at the moment. You can hear it all going on as well. Sora finds himself in a 1 versus 5 with barely any time going through the round. Actually manages to find 2 to his name, so he's able to go down swinging at the very least. But I think the next issues really come when it comes to Denya and Sezi. I don't really think he's going to be able to overcome them just because he is attacked up so heavily. And he will, overall decide that Rebirth is going to be able to take that round.
Yeah, the first round does go the way of Rebirth. Rebirth are pretty solid in their pistol rounds. It's pretty common for them to take a pistol round, and they are very good at getting these leads. But also, the anime boomers have, historically, at least in this tournament, been sort of late bloomers of the fact that they will drop a good amount of rounds and then all of a sudden just blast out with like 7 in a row. So that's something that Rebirth have to be looking out for.
It could be scary, especially on the T side as well. Giving up too many rounds on the T side can, I mean, really, if nothing else, hurt your confidence. Says he doesn't seem to really care about that. Just pushing through right into the pistols that were bought up from anime boomers is already forcing the issue super early on in round number 2. So, I mean, you said that Rebirth have very solid pistols, and I think we saw it that last round, very obviously, considering, I mean, they're on the verge of not losing a single player. It was only that Sora was able to tap down a couple of players that there was any bits of damage, but for the most part, anime boomers have been kind of shut out early on.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it again. The anime boomers almost, I almost feel like maybe it may be a mental tactic because they almost every game they've played in, they've had somewhat of a very quiet start. They've gone in with not only just losing the rounds, but losing the rounds in a pretty convincing fashion. And we are going to have a little bit of pushback from ENG, but he does go down to Retro. But they're a team that will give the other team a lot of rounds, it feels like. And I don't know if it's on purpose or not, because honestly, anime boomers are also a team that very much like to play for fun or just to mess around. So it's very possible that they are giving up these rounds to kind of throw off. But we are going to see a match pause come through. So maybe they are going to start figuring out what they need to do to start winning. But I think after a few more rounds, we will see the anime boomers light up a bit more. They're probably going to get a bit more into the swing of things, and they might warm up a bit more in their team setting with their new players for this best of 3. So maybe then we'll be seeing go a little more the way of anime boomers.
I mean, now's the time to do it as well. Obviously, a little bit of a tech pause coming through. Rebirth has got to figure stuff out as they've dropped a player, but anime boomers, they're going to be able to fully invest into this one. We're going to be seeing Krieg's AKs and, well, Booty Lord, although he hasn't quite bought up yet, I would imagine we'd be seeing Galil and some extra utility. This could be a full execute from anime boomers. On the 3rd round, just like this, the money still isn't fantastic for Rebirth. They can afford to upgrade to a couple of M4s, but for the most part, if the Ts were to, as he said, be those late bloomers and arrive into round 3 and really punish Rebirth, they could actually take the lead pretty early on in this because the money would be punished so hard from Rebirth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, It's almost, they of course didn't win that second round, but it's almost better for the T side to give a round or two to the CTs before they get their first round, because it completely demolishes that economy. I mean, with the new loss bonus and the fact that the T side are able to have a lot more comfortable buys than the CT side is, they, might possibly, if they take this round, as you said, completely crush that economy. And that's going to be a dangerous place to be for Rebirth, because that's giving almost 2 guaranteed rounds back to the Anime Boomers, so that's tying the scoreline if they win this.
It's still very early on Mirage, so perhaps there's a lot of CS to play, but this is probably one of the best starts that Rebirth could have hoped for. Their fate may change on this first gun round. Anime Boomers already setting up for a B execute. Even, actually, take a look at this over at mid. Rebirth is actually sending 3 players all the way towards top mid, pushing through the smoke. This aggression reeks of Rebirth too. I've seen them do this a couple of times previously, and I absolutely love seeing it every single time. Getting 1 kill early on, Miniature does manage to trade out Denya, but just based off of that contact at mid, Anime Boomers will immediately start swinging out over towards B, find another kill to their name, get the bomb down, and play that post plant. Anime Boomers are in a pretty fantastic spot just now.
Yeah, I mean, those opening kills are great, and we are going to see this retake go on. The molly coming out from Young Retro to try to force Booty Lord out of position, but Booty Lord is going to back off and be fine. Modern falls to Blakers on the site. Retro almost blind. The molly kills Booty Lord instead of the bullets himself, though, and we do see a kill coming through from Sora to try to shut down this site, but it's a 2 versus 1, and he has it all to do. The bomb is tapped once to try to draw out a peek, and the peek is given. But finally, there is the kill. And do they have the defuse? I think they do.
With the kit, yeah, they should, most definitely. If they didn't, that could have gone the other way. But Rebirth, I mean, they just barely managed to squeak that one out. That was like that first major hurdle that I felt like they needed to overcome if they want to get off to a confident start in Mirage. We both talked about it during that quick pause, is like their money wasn't exactly in that spot where they have like a decent nest egg to lay back on, but now they even picked up an AK and a Krieg from the T's, plus they have a nice amount of money in their pockets. Rep Boy and Modern, excuse me, both have about 7,000 roughly. Or, actually, no, it's only Modern, but well, it doesn't matter really too much because Reality will have to buy up another gun next round. A great start, Anime Boomers, but striking right back will be Rent Boy himself, coming up from Cat, and again trading one out with a Deagle. These trades are going back and forth at the moment, and Rebirth, despite buying up fully into this one, are on the back foot just slightly. A little bit scarier because of it. They will get the bomb down, Anime Boomers. Pretty much uncontested as well. The CPs are just kind of lying in wait, ready to pounce at any time. But Anime Boomers are always quick to trade it out. And I feel like this sort of numbers game is something that can so heavily favor the Anime Boomers, especially on a round like this, because with the bomb down, Rebirth really have to do it all against them. And bomb starts to tick. They have to start moving quicker. They might get a little bit messier on their trades. They might find themselves in a bad spot. Miniature, I mean, he finds the first, but surely the second. What is actually in order? I was not thinking that would actually work for him whatsoever, but the Glock absolutely demolishes Denya. And Anime Boomers are actually going to be able to take that one. I was not expecting to be able, or to utter those words, but here I am being surprised.
Yeah, I mean, there was some beautiful shots coming out there. Of course, those heads getting taken off quickly. And it looked like Rebirth had that retake. They went from a 2 versus 3 to a 2 versus 1, but they were able to get the quick scope off, and then also just that spray through the smoke, which looked like it would absolutely hit nothing, managed to, of course, hit everything and give them the round.
And that changes so much, because now Rebirth, have to start digging a little bit more into their wallets. Sezi, who hasn't exactly had that much money, is stuck only on a Desert Eagle for the time being. Some of his other teammates are doing healthier. You see Denya has even picked up the full AWP facing off against Sora. For the most part, Anime Boomers, seems like they are slowing this one down just a little bit with their newfound mid control. I kind of like the adjustment though. Rebirth, they struggled against that fast play line, so maybe slowing it down could kind of switch up how Rebirth think of this. Well, Red Boy isn't convinced. Great shot on the sword, taking down the Opera as well. Modern even coming in from the flank over towards T-Spawn is just creating presence, if nothing else. Just keeps Anime Boomers on their toes a little bit. Now a man down after the sight, and it becomes very, very awkward for them to actually push in, especially since Reality is there to hold the gate, there to hold everything down. Will be actually Rep Boy to finish off the round with a triple, I believe it was, and talk about confidence from Rebirth. I gotta say, that was an incredible hold over towards mid in particular.
Yeah, I mean, with these subs coming out, I think we both kind of expected these subs to be the ones popping off in the server, but it's actually a lot of the more, not common, but the names that we expect from these rosters. Retro, of course, coming out with that great play in the last round, but also Sora is playing well, Booty Lord is playing well, but Miniature, one of the subs, as I say that, does find a wonderful 1D onto the head of, Reality there. So 2 of the subs go head-to-head, and now it's a 4 versus 5.
You know what? I kind of feel like a fool because I always pronounced Retro like Retboy because I asked him on Twitter. That's how he said it was pronounced, but I'm pretty sure it is Retro. Fun little correction. But I think for the most part, going back to the game in question, Anime Boomers, although they have the site taken, I don't see Rebirth giving this one up. That shot through the smoke really kind of makes things a little bit sweeter of a deal. The second coming in from Retro. See, I'm learning from my mistakes. Anime Boomers seem to have not learned from their mistakes, though, as they just push wildly onto the A site, get sprayed down in a matter of seconds. Rebirth now take a pretty convincing lead early on in Mirage, I gotta say.
Yeah, this is not what I expected, especially with Sora, usually the team that excels on a map like this. They, as we said, are a bit more of a pug team. That's not really a good or a bad thing, but they are ones who excel on the run and gun. And starting on Mirage on your T side is where I expected that to be coming out. And of course, with a kill like ENG taking off the head of Reality, that might help. But still, I'm surprised that we haven't seen them winning a lot more of the opening battles.
See, that's a kind of strange thing as well. There's always been a kill super early on, and a lot of the time it has actually been going in Rebirth's favor. And just because of that, having to play a man down time and time again, Anime Boomers find themselves on the back foot. There you are. It happened right there yet again. This numbers game, again, is something that Rebirth seem a little bit more comfortable with. Finally, though, the game has been a bit overplayed.
This timing could be everything.
Oh, boy. I'm sure Retro will be watching his... Oh, my God, he's not watching his back. Well... at least he doesn't have to worry about a teammate getting the wrong information. I suppose he has that going for him, but the wrong read in pretty much all the other situations. Bomb's still being down, though. Maybe throws a little bit of a wrench in the plans of Anime Boomers. But I think for the most part here, they both lack the critical information. They're now pushing up from Cat. Might run straight into Miniature's crosshairs. In a lot of ways, you can think of this a lot of the time as a 1 versus 1. ENG is really dangerously low on HP, and a single bullet would actually finish him up. And against a Krieg like that, I'm a little bit scared about the potential that Retro actually has of making this one work out.
Yeah, and he's also going to catch the timing so well here, excuse me, with the time so far down. He's going to hear that smoke, but I think he has this perfectly. He hears them pushing up, or excuse me, sorry. My ears were apparently dyslexic. They are on the A site while he's on the B site, but he does have the retake now, or is going to go for the retake.
They threw down the smoke, too, over towards Catwalk, so they do expect him to come from that angle. That being said, they're not watching it. Oh, man, the fact that he made noise big... What is this? I don't know what he's going for with that flash. It doesn't work out. He's given away his position at this point. It is just a matter of lining up the shot. Anime Boomers surely on the verge of closing this one out, but Retro is trying to convince me otherwise. Gets the first one onto Miniature, and the second is not quite there. And somehow on 13 HP is the one to clutch it out, and not Miniature.
That was, what a close round. What a weird round. I mean, we were saying that we saw Rebirth winning that game, and then they finally came down to that 2 versus 1. I also am surprised, but also impressed by Retro's, I would say, dedication to that B site. He heard that smoke coming through to block him off from the A site, but stick there towards the B. But the fact that he got that first kill was absolutely insane, and it's just, I would say, just sadly unlucky that he doesn't get that second one. But we are going to see a little bit of a B take coming through from the side of the Anime Boomers.
I absolutely love this as well, but I love the hold from Rebirth a little bit more. Only one rifle dedicated to the cause has found that first kill too. And thing is, this is a very comfortable place for Rebirth to be in as well. Obviously, yes, they're a man up, but also they kind of have the element of surprise in their favor as well. Anime Boomers now have to kind of shift their setup, and they're doing a great job at it. Miniature gets one right back. But these deagles can be absolutely lethal as Retro, he is going to show us right now. Takes down Blakers and Sora with a third possibly on his way. Rebirth, I mean, I said that these deagles could be lethal, but this is something else. He was just not traded out there, and Anime Boomers now find themselves in a very tricky spot against the pistols of the CTs, the Pistols. I mean, pleasant surprise, I suppose. Rebirth are just on the verge of closing this one out here. Retro only is able to get 3 to his name, but his teammates will be there easily to close things out. And just based off of that itself, Rebirth very, very comfortably take that lead yet again.
I mean, they're taking his lead also off of the back of Retro just absolutely popping off. He's having a wonderful game, sitting at, as you can see in the stream, 14-5. And I mean, he's a player we've seen show up before, but never in quite this fashion against this high of, I would say,
opposition.
Yeah, opposition is the word I was looking for. So Retro is just doing a wonderful job. Now, as I say that, he gets a great 2K as well from above, shooting bullets directly into the tops of the heads of the anime boomers, leaving it all on the shoulders of Booty Lord and ENG.
The boomers are going to be eating lead for a long while here. Just absolutely dominant right there. Modern even chimes in with a triple of his own, but that was a little bit of a freebie, I suppose you could even say. I mean, anime boomers were stuck on pistols there. That being said, I could also say that same exact sentiment otherwise, where Rebirth were on pistols and still somehow managed to make the round work. The TSS are being shut down very, very early on, time and time again. I gotta say, even the times where they try to switch it up, getting that aggressive underpass control that we saw from last time, maybe even going for a mid-split, boost into window, etc., etc., it's not working out. And at what point do you really have to change up the playbook entirely here? I mean, now would be a perfect time. Considering Retro has just taken out 2, maybe they can start to strategize a little bit in dead chat, while the rest of their teammates try to drag their way back into this round, into this game, in fact. Rebirth sit comfortably.
Yeah, they're just locking down. They're just winning all of their opening duels right now, it seems. As the trades come through, they're just positioning so well to play off of each other. And it does look like Blakers is going to trade back one. Great positioning from him to check that corner. But still, it's going to be really difficult for them to take the site. And Rebirth are just, at this point, out-positioning the anime boomers. It's not even that they're out-aiming. Of course, Retro has hit some amazing shots, but it's just that they're in the right position at the right time to shoot basically the backs of these anime boomer players.
I think it's so important too, because Rebirth, you can see how they're actually still playing this a little bit safe as well. Sezi chose not to push out nor peek his head over towards CZ and gets rewarded with a kill through smoke onto Blakers as a result. I mean, Rebirth can really just set up for a comfortable retake and find themselves in a great situation. The bomb barely even has time to go down and all the kills come through. It's absurd. Like, this is starting to feel really, really one-sided at the moment. Rebirth getting away flawlessly on that retake. I don't even think they took a point of damage.
Yeah, that was an amazing retake. They just comfortably sat back and let them take the site. There's a lot of discipline in general coming through from these Rebirth players. They're getting really comfortable with getting information and then giving up, I would say, real estate on the map so that they can take more favorable fights. They're playing a really good game of CS in the technical fashion. They're also playing good, I would say, in the way of, they're hitting their shots, especially with shots like that coming through, but they're also just outplaying the anime boomers with more of their positioning. So I think that if the anime boomers don't start playing off each other better and winning these positional fights, they're not going to take this map.
I mean, this is just unbelievable. Again, this is basically everything that I've been mentioning coming to fruition right here. Again, Rebirth finding that first kill super early on. As we're talking about what happened in the last round, giving a little bit of a summary, we say, yeah, they're doing great, but then they hit shots and then bam, a kill comes through. Case in point yet again. It's just, this is like incredibly one-sided. Not at all what I was expecting out of Rebirth, but they are making one heck of a name from themselves, I gotta say.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how this game would have played out if we had both of the original rosters, because the players that are popping off right now are not really. I mean, for the anime boomer sides, Miniature is sitting at the most frags, but the least amount of frags on the Rebirth side right now is their S-ranked stand-in. Yeah, that's Reality sitting with, I think it was 5 or 6 kills, but Retro is sitting on so much higher, and Reality is going to go ahead and pad his stats there, but still, the fact that it's the core players that are showing up right now, it makes me wonder if the same thing would have happened if, we had these original rosters, if Rebirth are coming in with, some sort of kryptonite to the boomers.
I gotta say, at the same time, if he just saw that shot from Booty Lord, he missed a standing still player with his Deeg. I think it's also at the same time, like, anime gamers really just don't seem warmed, or don't seem warm, excuse me, because it's pretty absurd. They're given a lot of free opportunities with that player slow pushing Cat. Booty Lord just wasn't quite able to throw the kill into his direction, and instead just kind of throws caution into the wind. Dies all the same. Miniature, it looks like he's the most warm so far. Finds himself on double digits, but against 3. I don't exactly have the highest confidence because Denya, I mean, he wide swings into that peak, wins it. It's a team ace for everybody on Rebirth, and a 10th round for them. Miniature, maybe he has double digits when it comes to kills, but Rebirth are doing them one better as a team, as they've gotten up to 10 on the CT side.
Yeah, and I mean, Retro is sitting at 20 kills and 7 deaths. 12 rounds in, that is an absolutely beautiful game of CS coming through from him against high-level players. Every single player on Sora, not just these stand-ins, but every single player are really high-level players who have a lot of experience in this scene and even in LAN settings. So the fact that he's able to get those numbers in this setting is absolutely amazing.
The fact that they're getting away with free kill after free kill is absurd in its own right as well. I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, but it's the same story, different round. Rebirth get like an immediate entry kill in. Someone like Reality, excuse me, was overstaying his welcome over towards ramp, and he still gets away with a double. Same story with Retro. He's on 13 and gets away with a double of his own. Like, I don't know how they're getting away with this. I wouldn't have this much confidence in a matchmaking game, and these people are doing it in the grand finals. Like, it's absurd. Generally absurd.
It is absolutely crazy. And we do have a pause coming through. That is definitely where I would have been calling a pause as well. It's strange. As we talked before the game, we said that we felt that we were worried this would be a wipe, but we were almost worried that it would be a wipe in the favor of the Anime Boomers. They are a team that, in their last match played a lot better and also have the stronger roster as a whole. Excuse me. Another sneeze coming in. That's 2 for 2 in this cast so far. So maybe make a highlight of that instead of the plays, but it is surprising that the Anime Boomers are not only losing, but losing in such a convincing fashion. I mean, down 11-2, that is not at all where you want to be in the first half of the first map.
I mean, not at all, but even when they do have something going their way, that first kill actually does go the way of ENG, I believe, taking down Modern. They strike back in such a convincing fashion. They're about to find number 12, and there has been zero response. I mean, that was a tactical pause, I believe, called by the Boomers, and it still fell flat on their face. What is even the thing that they need to switch up, I think, is the real question at this point. That round, it could have been a little bit of a freebie for Rebirth, considering the amount that Anime Boomers invested into it, but this is their last chance to avoid that 13-2 that they're possibly staring down the barrel of. How do they even change it up? Is it an early kill like that from Miniature? Sure, but they'll get 2 in response. Rebirth are just out and ready to play at the moment. Blakers just straight up playing a pug at the moment. Will get 1-2's favor, but again, keep an eye on that left side of your screen, because the numbers are always favoring Rebirth, time and time again. It's suffocating to play against. It genuinely is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are going to go into a new half, so I think this is the spot for the Boomers to try to bring a comeback, at least on this map. It's going to be difficult because they're looking at what seems like it's going to be a 13-2 scoreline at this point, unless Blakers is able to pull out something amazing, which he has before, so that wouldn't be the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I think the Anime Boomers are going to have to either just really overwhelm these players just with their insane aggression that they do have on a CT side. But they also, I mean, as we say, Rebirth is playing an amazing team game. They're just out positioning, but they do also have to find a way to shut down Retro because he's playing out of his mind right now. I don't know exactly what's happening, but he's having the game of his life, and we are going to see that 13-2 scoreline, but they have to have someone step up and start battling Retro in this numbers game that he's having right now, sitting at 26-8. I mean, they have to have someone start fragging out at the level that he's fragging out, or it's going to be hard for them to even stand a chance. I mean, as much as I don't like the term, he's almost carrying right now. Of course, I still think Rebirth would be in the lead if Retro wasn't playing out of his mind, but
for sure,
if they want a comeback, they have to shut down Retro's insane play right now. And also, they do have to definitely change something up and try to catch Rebirth off guard with the CT side.
already on the second half of action, Rebirth have it all to play for. I mean, they are coming out swinging on map number 1, a result that I don't think anyone was expecting. Probably even the anime boomers, as they're going to be caught off guard as the Rebirth push begins over towards the B bomb site. Shots are connected, but not to the degree that they would have hoped from Miniature. He goes down just like Blakers, and it's going to be another very, very comfortable situation for Rebirth as they enter the post plant. Get another kill, too. I didn't even see that one go out on the Booty Lord, and he still just goes down so quickly. This is insane. Is anyone going to stop Retro?
It doesn't
I have to have
like
some
it.
respect to his name, because I got it wrong for quite a while. I've watched a lot of Retro, and I've never seen him have a game this good. He's 28-8. That's just, it's been 16 rounds.
Yeah, he's playing out of his mind. And also, one of the interesting things is that in the best of 3 between these two teams yesterday, where we saw the exact same maps, the Anime Boomers took their Mirage map, which was their decider for that one, and in a really convincing fashion, they took it 16-5. So the fact that these teams are so insanely different is, you know, just from the addition of one player on Rebirth and also 2 players on the Anime Boomers is absolutely insane. The fact that Rebirth have seen this much of an improvement coming through from just adding one player or changing one player is crazy.
I just don't even know what to chalk it up to. Because I watched the VOD a little bit of yesterday's match on Mirage. It doesn't even feel like Rebirth are particularly like trying to switch things up to a major degree. Obviously, they just have way more control over what the Boomers were doing to them last time around, but this is just like to another degree. They don't even look particularly worried about taking these fights. Look, they're wide peeking the Booty Lord. Modern hits the crazy flick to finish it out, and it's a triple for him. It's like everyone's stepping up, and it doesn't even look particularly challenging in any of the scenarios. I don't even know what to do against it. That's like the weird thing.
Yeah, that's it. The thing is that we have, you know, of course, basically what is wall hacks on right now. We're able to see everything that's happening, and not even we can really come up with a solid answer on how the Anime Boomers should be fighting against this, because at the end of the day, they're just losing the opening fights, and we do see 2 quick opening frags come through for the Anime Boomers, 1 trade back, and it looks like they may at least get 1 more round going into this, but woo, still though, looking at a 15-3 scoreline is insane.
Yeah, I don't really think they can be happy about getting that one last round. That has been their only highlight. I think you have more. I mean, you individually have had more individual highlights in your seasons. I mean, that one from the Anime Boomer squad, excuse me, is like, I mean, it's great, but you still have to get 12 in a row just to bring it to OT, and that is going to be a long way to go before we even start talking about that potential. Bringing some of the aggression that we saw from Rebirth out on the CT side, it seems to be doing them rather well. And will make it so. I was going to say it was about even for the most part, but the shots are connecting a little bit more than they were in that first half, and it should be a number 4 for Anime Boomers, so they got that going for them.
You know, it's difficult to say that there's going to be a comeback just because of how big the scoreline is, but this is how comebacks start. The Boomers are starting to get, you know, their own flow going. They're getting a lot more comfortable playing together, and they're also using that aggression that they're comfortable with. I mean, they're starting to just kind of read where Rebirth are going to be and putting the players there at the right time. So, I mean, there is a world where the Boomers are able to take back this map 1 if they just keep having rounds like that, but they're going to have to get, I mean, what is it, 11 rounds in a row without dropping one, so that's insane. I mean, of course, with Blakers taking the life...
What just happened with Denya? He didn't even see anyone, and he died to a single HE. That is depressing. Well, I mean, again, that's one of those things where that's been the only thing going wrong for them, but I guess my next follow-up question was, now that Rebirth have guns in their hands, does it end right here?
Yeah, that is the question. It could go either way. Also, I would like to bring up that Retro actually is a player who was supposed to, or who was on a team that made it to MDL, and he was on their roster in the season that they did make it into MDL, that being Recon 5, but he was dropped before their MDL run.
Yeah.
So that does, you know, make his insane high level of skill a little more understanding, but still, he's having such an amazing game.
Yeah, he's hit 30. He just hit number 30 right there, and this is looking to be 16-5 as well. I mean, it feels like they're smurfing in the grand finals, which is insane because the anime boomers have had nothing to say in response. They get a couple of kills on the retake, but it still comes down to a 2 versus 2 with the bomb intact. It is stayed safe, and it's only going to get more safe. Modern wants to close it out right here, right now, and Miniature, he was brought in to try to make this scoreline impressive for anime boomers, but it has been anything but. Retro, what a more, I mean, you can't think of a more fitting way to end it. Retro with 31 kills will close it out, and that is absurd. That is not a number I thought it would be saying heading into this game.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely insane. That is not at all what I expected coming from this map. I mean, that was I believe, the pick of Rebirth. They wanted that map, but still, the fact that they got, like, almost stomped on in just one day ago by the same team, and that they bring us a scoreline like this is crazy. That is almost unheard of. I mean, I'm stumbling over my words because I don't know how to explain what's happening. I've been a fan of Rebirth throughout this entire tournament. They've been one of my personal favorites to make it to the finals. In fact, I would say these are my two top teams. But still, the fact that this is happening is insane.
It's this next level. It's genuinely like, I'm speechless after the fact. Sure, there was a couple of nice shots that, anime boomers were hitting every now and then. Plus, they got that nice little round when they're, what was it, number 17, I think it was. But for the most part, I mean, Rebirth were getting away with everything that they could have hoped for. It was uncontested, like almost entirely on Mirage. I'm not sure what kind of labbing that they did, because it doesn't even feel like they're particularly ready for everything that anime boomers were going to do, because they had 2 new players in their own right, but they're just ready for absolutely everything. I just don't even know what to say. It's like genuinely making me lose my words. My thoughts are not sorted out for this result at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, Rebirth still would have taken that map without Retro popping off in the insane way that he did. He, of course, had a really... the entire team had a really solid game, but I do think we would have seen a much more competitive game, because we could see that the Boomers were waking up towards the end. They were starting to win their fights, and they have shown that they're able to hit their shots. I mean, we have all these replays showing of the players ripping off heads. But the fact that Retro was just taking people out before they had a chance to even breathe just makes it... I mean, it's just... that has to be disheartening if you're the Boomers, so I'm really curious as to how they're going to be going into this next round.
Well, I mean, it is going to be their map pick going to Inferno after this, and... I mean, I guess if you're fine at answering the question, what do they even need to switch up to actually put themselves back into the driver's seat of this game that, let's be real here, I'm pretty sure we all predicted them to win?
I mean... going into Inferno, it's a little bit of a different map. It's still a very puggy one, but it's one that by nature has to play out a lot slower. You don't have these direct lines into sites on multiple ways. There's a lot more choke points for the Ts that they have to fight through, especially, you think banana, especially upper banana, and then also brackets, the area of top mid. Both of those areas are where they have to be super careful because there's so many corners they have to clear out. So I do think that the anime boomers are starting on CT, so that is where they had, it is the even amount. They are starting on CT. The knife round will be played
you're right.
in
you're right.
the train
I
map.
forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
But I think that we can definitely see the boomers start to come back in this. It seems like they're warmed up now, and I think that this game's going to have a very different pace. So I'm interested to see how this entire thing goes basically in the second map, because I think I would say the first 10 rounds are going to be the deciding factor on whether or not we see the anime boomers in this entire best of 3 anymore. If those starting rounds start going the way of Rebirth again, that's not only going to be, a great just number game for them for Rebirth, but also that's going to be very mentally taxing on the players of Sora's anime boomers, as well as just it's going to show us that the Rebirth know exactly what they're going for, and they're probably going to take this map 2. So I think this map 2 can still be anyone's game, regardless of the game we just saw, just because this is a very differently paced map.
It doesn't inspire confidence after map 1, but I'm really hoping that the anime boomers can, really show up in a big way. Because again, when you just look at the name on paper or the names on paper, you would expect something that isn't 16-5, but here we are, staring down that barrel. Now a map up, Rebirth find themselves in a very comfortable position into map number 2, and Rebirth are starting on the CT side to boot, so they have pretty much everything going their way, don't they? 4 players stacked up over towards A with 1 over towards B. I've been seeing a lot more love out of this setup from all sorts of different teams as of recent here. I thought it was a counter strat at first, but no, it just seems to be the default, the new default for a lot of these teams. And right now, Rebirth, they're getting into places that I wouldn't ever imagine them to be. Excuse me, not Rebirth, these are the Boomers. Looks like the HUD just might be a little bit messed up, but I mean, still, these are the same players. This is the same situation. It's actually the Boomers who now have a confident man lead, although ENG is barely staying alive in this one. He's on life support. A little bit more difficult just because of that fact alone. But I think they can still make this work. I mean, sure, anime boomers have the numbers, but they have to really be careful of how they split their setup here. Blaker's doing a great job at least holding the line over at B, but still going to give up the ghost eventually and allow the bomb to go down. 2 versus 3 as we enter the retake. No kits in play. That's important to mention, but the shots are there to make the job easier. Miniature gets the first of the potential 2 that might be going their way here. Sezi tries to get the lineup. Not going to be a possibility. And so already off to a better start. Anime Boomers are going to win the pistol and put themselves up 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely one. I mean, of course, it's what you want. If you're playing CSGO, you want to win rounds, but a strong start is what the Anime Boomers need right now, and I mean, they are still a little bit in a danger zone. The bomb got down for those T-side players, so they have a lot of money to work with here. They could force up if they want, and it looks like there is at least a little bit of forcing going to happen, a few deagles, but this is basically kind of the danger zone. If they win this next round, they're going to get themselves a lead economically and round-wise, but if they lose this round, their economy is going to be broken, and they're basically giving Rebirth the lead.
This is a bit of a rough one, too. I mean, obviously things are going well for the Boomers, but I feel like it's kind of strange. We saw on map number 1, Rebirth felt confident in just saving and buying up in that 3rd round. This time, I mean, they're just bringing everything to the table that they can right now. They want to try to even this up. Won't be even given a shot. Not even given the time of day. They get 2 kills, but for the investment that they had into that, I still... Oh my god, the T economy. I just totally forgot how good it was. Yeah. Never mind. They're still buying. I totally forgot for a second. I feel like such a boomer. But no, it's the anime boomers who are now going to be ones really headlining the show here, because they have MP9s and FAMAS's. The buy doesn't inspire confidence against the Kriegs and AKs of Rebirth here, and that is exactly why 2 already to the name of Rebirth. I mean, sure, Booty Lord gets one on the Molotov of all things onto reality, but it's still another confident man advantage. Now the Boomers have to split up their defense, and it's only going to get worse. Retro, he has shown up in the server. He has not done it in that big way as before. Only gets 1 kill before he's traded out. But the anime Boomers, only 2 men strong. They'll have to split their defense 1-1 or gamble in the same place together. And look, they don't choose to take the gamble, so they will not hit jackpot. Modern taking down possibly the last Guardian, separating them from this in round number 1. Actually, are choosing to play it slow. Finally getting the bomb down, planting Seaside. And ENG now finds himself in a very awkward spot. I mean, what can he even do here?
Ooh.
Not even given that single shot, too. That was like his best way to get into the round, and Modern denies it. It's
yeah,
rough.
I mean, even though they've, not had the even though they've not had success in this map yet, they are sitting down 2-1. Rebirth are still very hot off the last map, and they're going to have a lot of confidence. So the Boomers should have been expecting a lot of aggression, but they were caught off guard and themselves aggressed. I think the main problem we're facing here is that the Boomers are a team that are very used to giving aggression themselves and therefore forcing the other team to play at a more passive fashion. So when the other team is aggressive, they seem to be somewhat caught off guard. I mean, Top Banana has already completely given up to the favor of Rebirth. There's so much map control coming through for these Rebirth sides at the start of the round that it's absolutely astounding.
It's basically the anything you can do, we can do better approach. And Rebirth, they're doing it better. Retro will make it so. Anime Boomer's even forcing up too. Although that's a decent enough result with a Mag 7, I think finding any more would be too tall of an order. Indeed, it seems to prove true. I mean, I think all things considered though, considering that aggressive approach that you're saying, Anime Boomers were kind of in a tough spot in round number 3, because Rebirth being able to buy up, they had the artillery advantage. I mean, Kriegs versus AK, or Kriegs and AKs versus FAMASas and MP9s. I mean, you have to give the edge to the one-shot rifles, the best guns in the game. But it's like, at the same time, how Anime Boomers played it, it didn't even seem like it came down to the fact that they had FAMASas. They were just giving up into a 3 versus 5 with like barely any time off the clock. And like, what is that? Sora? I mean, it's this really dismal state of affairs for Anime Boomers that round. I mean, they didn't have much of a chance, much of a horse in that race, but hey, seriously, just don't even get one, it feels like.
Yeah, I think what the Anime Boomers should be doing, at least on the B site, is be playing more of the utility game. They're losing this fight for control of Banana, so I think they should just be throwing nades, throwing mollies, and then backing off and playing angles on the site. But they still have a player aggressive up here with the CZ. He does get some damage with the nade, but still, I think they should be working on playing these off angles and work on holding these sites and catching players off guard and not taking these fights that they historically aren't winning so far in this best of 3.
I totally think that's the right approach to it, because Rebirth, I mean, we're still early on in this game. You know, they might switch up their T-side approach, obviously, but they have felt comfortable in taking top of Banana pretty much every round except the pistol. And, you know, being punished by a couple of Molotovs, even a single HE, would seriously change up the game, and I feel be a much better, I guess, thing for Anime Boomers to go off of. That's a nice, solid piece of map control. But they don't even have that. They don't have map control anywhere. It's another freebie round for Rebirth, sure, but I mean, Anime Boomers aren't even convincing me with, like, you know, they're not even getting like a single kill in their favor with like the pistols at a strange off angle. Even if it's traded out, I mean, that's still like a little bit of economical damage done. But this is just, I mean, it's a clean sweep. It's still early on into this one. I mean, Anime Boomers will be able to buy up for the next round in number 6. So I think we'll finally find ourselves in a real, I guess, test. See how Anime Boomers can really face off once they get rifles in their hands. But, I mean, this is going to really, I feel, decide all how they have adjusted heading into map number 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is just scary territory for the Anime Boomers because Rebirth also managed to take their Inferno game yesterday, even though they lost the best of 3. This is the map that they won with their previous roster, and they're losing. So basically, my point is that now that we're seeing what seems like an even stronger Rebirth roster, I don't know what's happening, but a stronger Rebirth at whole, they are going to be insanely confident on this. I mean, you can see that they're once again getting this banana control instantaneously and getting the opening kill. They're bullying their way into these sites because they just know that they can.
This is just absurd. This is absolutely insane. Finally, someone knocks Retro and Reality down a peg, but they're still... I mean, it's an even game still. Despite that miraculous 2K that Booty Lord was able to get, it still could swing in either team's favor. And that's what's so scary. The fact that Rebirth just are not scared of even that Molotov going out towards the top of Banana, like, no, it's literally through the fire and the flames, they carry on. It's just like, can anything stop, like, their aggression? They don't seem to be warded off by even pieces of utility, like you mentioned, needed to be going down. It's just like the bullets need to get through their dome. Actually, convince them otherwise. Now storming over the B-bomb saying, what? How did Booty even die that quickly? Like... He was full HP, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was insane.
He just dies in the blink of an eye, and the round might be over in a blink of an eye, too. Anime Boomers are trying for the retake. If they find the first frag, it could go their way, but says he has absolutely no intentions of letting that happen. You can't hope for a better post-plant situation, and Sezi, he is making one hell of a statement. I gotta say, I mean, Sezi had a relatively quiet map 1. The thing is, that really doesn't matter, considering that Retro didn't have a very quiet map 1. He was screaming into a megaphone into the ears of the Anime Boomers. Like, the fact that we haven't even seen the full potential of Sezi so far, and he's finally starting to unlock a little bit more, and doing it so convincingly on a gun round like this, it really spells a lot of potential doom for the upcoming rounds. I like this switch up though. Aggression towards the top of Banana, barely any time to breathe before we're already into the next one, but all that glitters isn't gold apparently. And I think it is going to be a long time before anime boomers are going to be able to see that pot of gold too. Again, that Eco, despite their best intentions, aren't quite able to hit the shots to boot, and they find themselves on the back foot. Blakers and Miniature left to do it all, one of which is having a bit of a hard time even converting the kill, and eventually does get it onto Retro, but he's now alone 1-on-3. These have been some really quick rounds, I gotta say.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that this is, as we expected, a very puggy style of CS, but also just even past that, it's fast for like a pug. Each round starts with fast banana control going to Rebirth, and then they bully their way into the B site. I think we've seen one A site plant so far come through.
I believe so, yeah.
This entire game is coming down to this fight for banana control, or I mean, yeah, the fact that anime boomers are losing this fight every single time. Their utility usage is doing almost nothing to Rebirth. They have, the last few rounds, been tagging down these players more and more with their mollies and so on. But the fact that they're losing this fight and then still sticking around to, have the problems of giving up this space to the other team coming through, I think that anime boomers should either, focus more utility towards this banana fight, try to get that fast, or they need to back up and try to play the B site. But that said, they're still just not winning their fights as they hold these sites. So honestly, at this point, I'm not sure what you can do if you're the anime boomers.
I have to agree with your sentiment, though, that aggression down banana, like tossing even just a couple of nades to ward off it being taken early would be like a nice little change for them, but I guess Rebirth even have a plan for that. Miniature, though, stomps out those plans with a triple. That's a nice little start. Anime boomers are definitely going to need something like that. Miniature is doing it all by himself as he's picked up 4. Number 5 is whisked away from him, but Booty Lord, he's going to be the one closing it out, but it's really all Miniature's game. He's 10 kills. I mean, look, 10 kills in 9 rounds, that's pretty great, sure, but he's head and shoulders above anybody else on his team. ENG only with 1 kill, Sora Blakers on 2 per. Only Booty Lord is even close to Miniature. I mean, it's still early on, and again, like, this can still swing in either team's favor, but it doesn't inspire confidence that the boomers require like an insane multi-frag streak from players like Miniature if they want to get their rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if every round comes down to just the solo performances of the different players, it's going to be a really difficult round because the Rebirth players have players like that can perform solo, but we're also not seeing the core squad of the anime boomers really show up. I mean, Sora, who's known for being a really, really solid opper for this anime boomer side, known for topping the charts a lot of times when it comes to kills with that op, locking down sites and stuff, just isn't really showing up right now, and the same is going through for, I mean, Blakers. And then also we have ENG, who is a really, really skilled player who is just not showing up right now. Of course, this is his first time playing with this roster, so that is to be expected. But the anime boomers are just not having the individual plays nor the team plays they need to get back into this. Whereas Rebirth, they're having those individual plays, but they're also communicating really well, and they have their game plan completely locked down. I mean, they've done the same default almost every single round, and it's netted them a win. I mean, so far, 5 out of, 8 rounds, so...
This is absurd too, to boot. How they managed to deal with this 2 versus 2. I mean, says he was able to get that first kill from a lurk that was coming through from, I believe it was Booty Lord. I could be wrong on that, but then they take the bomb, perfectly avoid where ENG could possibly be, and now he's forced to try to make a retake happen, stay completely silent, and like, it couldn't be better. Like, Rebirth have played this 2v2 to absolute perfection, and it's like, I mean, anime boomers even have the right read on it too. But it's this Rebirth just are one step ahead. It's, I don't know. I sound like a broken record at this point here, but it's the same story.
Yeah, no. I want to see anime boomers come back into this because despite the fact that they've been almost not seen as villains, but they've usually been taking the weaker half of a lot of the preference during this tournament. I think they're a really solid team. I think they're a team that have a lot of potential, They have players who have time and time again shown up. I mean, we're having them show up now as I say that. Sezzy and Young Retro, or Just Retro, go ahead and equalize it even more so, give them that back. Yeah, that is absolutely insane. But my point is that the Anime Boomers are an extremely strong team who are proven, I mean, through like different like throughout this tournament as well as previous tournaments and everything else, they're a team that are proven to be really strong. So the fact that this is happening is absolutely insane, especially by a team that they've beat. So this is, yeah, I'm at a loss for words.
I think that's also like such a big thing to say. I mean, this is a team that Anime Boomers have like wiped the floor with. This is like, I mean, obviously these are slightly different squads. I mean, 2 players from Anime Boomers are switched up, but with arguable upgrades. I don't think it's really hard to call them upgrades, or MDL players being brought in, and they're just being mopped the floor. I mean, they're being the mop, and I mean, Rebirth is cleaning these floors. Let me just put it that way. Like, that was another situation where Anime Boomers, I think, what was it? They got it into a 3 versus 5, and now Miniature is just forced to save his AWP. That's actually another thing I want to mention real quick. He didn't even get to save the op. That is just like salt in the wound. There's like a lot of different things going on too. Also, one quick thing I want to mention real quick during this pause is that Miniature actually took the op from Sora that last round. I'm not sure if that's just like a little bit of confidence, considering you mentioned that Sora is definitely more of an opper, but seeing him on the rifle instead, what does that really, I mean, does that say much to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the right call. If you're not confident in your shots and you're not hitting your shots when you're on the op, it's the best to give it to another player. But this is somewhat disheartening just because I actually, I mean, I just said this, but Anime Boomers are such a strong team, and every single time you see them in the server, win or lose, they're going to be putting up a really solid fight, or at least up until this point. It's been really solid stuff, so
I mean, this
basically,
has been anything but.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, we've said it time and time again, but I think a lot is going to come down once again to this banana control, because Rebirth are so comfortable getting this early progression and getting picks as they progress up banana. I mean, they're getting so much real estate so early on in these rounds, as well as, you know, just like they have the positioning of everything they want, and they're able to bully their way into these sites because they just set up all of their takes perfectly. And you just can't be giving up space like that if you're the CT side of Inferno. I mean, this is a map that I consider to be somewhat CT-sided. I mean, Miniature is going to go ahead and make it a lot easier on his team as he goes ahead and takes off the head of Retro. But still, I think that the Anime Boomers need to start fighting for this banana control even more, and they just need to work on not giving up so much control while also not taking fights they don't need to take, because they're fighting for banana with, instead of utility, they're fighting with aim battles, and they're not winning their aim battles.
I mean, yeah, that's what it comes down to a lot of the time, it feels like. I think case in point was last round where Retro was somehow able to trade out and get 2 into his name. Like, how does he even manage that? I mean, he single-handedly kind of won the round based off that play alone. It's just like disheartening. Again, I think you said it best. Rebirth just storm onto the site. I don't know. They're wobbling onto the site, and they get 3 kills. I mean, sure, they were against pistols, but I mean, think about what was going on with that scout over towards that corner box. It was just scoping in, out, in, out, in, out. It was making so much noise. That could have been like a one-and-done position, and maybe we'd see ourselves in a bit more of a comfortable situation for this retake that's coming through. But, like, it's not. I mean, the shots aren't there to boot either, and it's just like, on a lot of different levels, this is not working out for Anime Boomers. And I don't know what to say.
Yeah, at this point, you have to wonder if the Anime Boomers would have been stronger if they had their, original 2 on their roster, that being Try and Spear. Of course, because of reasons, they can't, but still, you have to. They brought in 2 players that on paper are almost stronger than the previous roster. That's not a dig on either Try or Spear, because those are both 2 wonderful players, but on paper, the players they brought in should be better. But this team is looking the weakest they've looked the entire tournament, so you have to wonder how differently this game would be going if they had their original roster.
I mean, that has to be the question that you ask as well, considering, I mean, again, the MDL talent that they have brought in. while they haven't been terrible, I mean, you've seen Ange in miniature at least, try to stem the wound, but it just kind of feels like they're falling apart at the seams. It's just like everything is not working out for them. A double op setup, by the way, was brought out from Anime Boomers. They were both, I think, the first players to die. Both which times.
That is... it's crazy.
I think it just kind of speaks, the virtue of what this game has been. It has just been, as you mentioned before, the gunfights going overwhelmingly in favor of Rebirth with little say from the opposition.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Rebirth are so confident and they're completely throwing the Boomers off of their game because these are shots the Boomers should be hitting. They should be getting this at least upper mid control and this banana control almost every round. That's the way this map is supposed to go, but as you can see, as usual, the Rebirth is already all the way up banana, and they're holding at least the entrance to brackets. And even with the flash in, Retro is going to take down Blakers. I don't dislike that call. And Booty Lord is going to go ahead and get one in. Almost the second does a little bit of damage, but still they're just... Yeah, this is so a good play so far coming through from the Anime Boomers. Good thing they've changed it up, but still they're giving up too much map control, but at this point, I honestly myself cannot find a way to verbalize how they should fix it.
That's the thing too. It's just like there's a lot of things not working out whatsoever that it's hard to think of like one quick fix, something that they can do. Go into map number 3 if they even make it that far, which let's be real here, I don't exactly think is realistic. Miniature tries to convince me otherwise, but I don't think the argument is that strong. He gets a nice double with the Deeg, but it still is down to 1 versus 1. I mean, I guess this is the closest round that we've seen for quite a while, but I still don't even feel necessarily worried. I feel like reality can close this one out. I mean, Booty Lord pushes up slowly. Has a decent chance if you can catch him off guard. They're both relatively low on HP, but you don't have to give the edge to the Lord of... or to the Reality Master, I guess. I was going to say the Booty Lord, but no, he's actually sitting on the back foot, makes a lot of noise as he pushes up towards sight. I mean, you can't even raise your voice at that one, too. It doesn't even seem particularly close. Like, I just kind of put them in as my shoe-in. Perhaps it's bias coming through, maybe it's something else, but I haven't really seen an argument for any of this otherwise.
Yeah, it's insane because I've had the pleasure of casting many of the Anime Boomers games, especially in the later half of this tournament, and I've never seen them play like this. It doesn't even feel like I'm watching the same team. That's the thing, is that Rebirth are having a wonderful game, but I don't think we would be seeing anything even close to the same if we had the Anime Boomers. Oh my god! Oh, excuse me. I thought
it was too. I was about to scream a bit loud for that one.
Yeah, I thought Sora got that kill, but I believe it was Blakers. But still, we're not seeing the team that we've come to know and love in this tournament, and other teams have come to know and hate because they've been dominated by them. I mean, they've only had one best of 3 dropped up to this point, that being against Cyberstorm, who they bested to get to this point. But they're just time and time again falling to Rebirth. I'm at a loss for words.
I mean, I'm trying to think of some sort of silver linings that Anime Boomers can take from this one. Because that round, at least for a little while, was looking a little bit promising. And that eco that they had in round number 13, I believe it was, that was also promising. That was the one where it was a 1 versus 1 that ended up going the way of Rebirth. But that was like a pistol force. They're back onto the same thing. Maybe if they can recreate the success that they had there, they have a chance. But, I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point that hasn't been said. 2 kills go the way of Anime Boomers, which is something that has not been said, feels like this entire game, but striking right back will be Modern. A double to his own right, the bomb pushing up towards B, the site cracked wide open, and it's almost guaranteed at this point to be number 12. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean... Here, excuse me, sorry.
No, you're good. It's just, I think we're both, like, trying to think of what to say here.
At this point, and we are going to the second half, Anime Boomers, I mean, at this point, they have to take the pistol if they want a fighting chance. But also, what's happening is that they weren't playing their best game this entire best of 3. It could be nerves, it could be a lot of other things, the fact that they're playing with 2 players they're not used to and other things, but they haven't been at their top, but they haven't been playing poorly. They've been playing still as a decent team, but they're making more and more mistakes. I think they're at the point where nerves are getting to them. They got 3 kills in that round, giving them the lead again, and then immediately gave up that lead from pushing forward, trying to get land, which you don't need to do as a CT player. So it seems like The anime boomers are properly shooketh, for lack of a better word.
I think that's a good way to put it. I think another bit of a disappointing storyline heading into this second pistol is that Anime Boomers won the first pistol. Pretty, like, relatively convincingly as well, and they still only have 3 rounds. I mean, it just shows, goes to show rather, that gunfights have just been really, Rebirth's bread and butter. I mean, really hard to really put the words any other ways. It's just like, when they actually get rifles in their hands, they seem way more confident controlling these mid-rounds. I mean, the thing is, we saw on the CT side of Mirage as well, it doesn't even seem like they're particularly one-sided, you know, they're CT favored or T favored. It's just, no, they just win everything they need to. Even this pistol just does not seem convincing. Like, this is inevitably going to... Oh, no. I was going to say inevitably going to be their win, but man, just giving up the go. No way! How? That doesn't work like that! Reality, come on! I barely said your name this series, and you're still impressing me! Come on, that is not fair! Give them a chance! Oh, God, he gets a bomb with, like, 0.2 seconds to, like, it's like they are trying to take this to the absolute maximum level of BM. They are rubbing salt in the wound. They're taking lemon juice, also rubbing that in the wound. There's like nothing redeemable. That was a round that should have been theirs, and Reality just goes ahead and does his best phase hopping impression.
That is, oh my god. I mean, thinking about where I would be in this game if I was in these players' shoes. Of course, these players are much more talented than me, but the morality for Anime Boomers must be low. They are actually getting a bit of a lead again, but still, their morality must be super low. I mean, losing that pistol after getting the bomb plant and getting in a 2 versus 1, that has to hurt so much. So this is such a difficult game for Anime Boomers, not only in the server, but also in their own minds. I mean, you're able to see why the pieces have fallen this way, why they're not able to play their top game. Of course, they weren't able to play with some of their core players. They brought in different ones and stuff, but they do at least find another round on the board, so that may possibly bring up the mentality and bring up some of, not to say the talent, but now that they start to get at least a few more rounds in, they may feel a little more confident and start hitting their shots a bit more. But still, this is
a long road ahead, isn't it?
Starting to look like a repeat of map 1.
There's still a little bit more of a chance. They aren't playing against 15 or even 14 just yet, and this should be another gimme for them, in theory at least, considering the buy from Rebirth is pretty minimal. It's a Nova Scout, otherwise Deagle's bought up. 1-for-1 trade to start things out here, but this is kind of a numbers game that would favor Anime Boomers any other day. They can trade each other out and, you know, up their motivation a little bit, get themselves a little bit more confident. Miniature finding another kill makes things look a bit sweeter, and even tapping away at Reality. So that's number 5 for them. Rebirth, this is going to be another round where they can't afford to buy, so it should be technically a number 6 for them. But again, I feel a bit worried about really calling around, just knowing how this series has gone so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think to stay fully competitive in this map, they need to win the next 2. They have to win, of course, this round, which should be somewhat easy for them. They're going up against pistols, a full save. But the next round as well is going to be the first rifle round coming out. If they lose that, it's going to break their economy and also probably break their morale. They're going to realize that Rebirth are just looking a lot better economically going into this next few rounds. So if they're able to pull this round as well as the next round back, they should be able to get a pretty solid amount of rounds on the board. But I'm worried for Anime Boomers. I want to see them. As I always say, I always want to see map 3. More CS is the best type of CS, but I'm really worried for the chances of that right now.
And map number 1, I talked about like hurdles that they needed to overcome, and the first of which being getting that rifle round on the board. This will be their first really decent chance. Even getting in deep with the knife. Gets a nice little bit of damage, or a nice little bit of money, excuse me, in his pocket. So they'll be sitting pretty for this first rifle round. This is going to be, again, another real litmus test. Rebirth, how are they going to do with a little bit more bought into this? It's actually not as convincing as I thought. I thought they were going to be able to get more M4s, but no, it's 2 MP9s, a Scout. Only 1 M4 to speak of here, so even now, like, this should be another very confident win for Anime Boomers, just on paper.
Yeah, I mean, if Rebirth take this back, that's just gonna, personally, that would break my, oh no.
Come on! Reality, are you kidding again?
What is that?
I can't even hit those in aim underscore bots. I mentioned matchmaking, but no, we are devolving even more. I couldn't do this stuff in my dreams, and he's doing it again in the grand finals. He's about to put his team on 14 based off of that lovely... I mean, lovely doesn't even feel like the right word. That insane, that absurd shot through banana. Retro gets into the kill feed with one of his own, and I mean, it's now Blakers versus the World, and I think the World just might crush him. Flash out. He gets the first kill onto Retro, but Reality is looking for number 4 and just might have a chance to do it. Spots exactly where Blakers is too. Oh, he's dangerously low on health. Just have to hit a couple of shots, and he is up for the challenge.
That is so disheartening if you're Anime Boomers, but if you're the side of Rebirth, you are ecstatic. You are over the moon, because that is not a round that you should have won. I mean, the fact that they're able to get the shots like that is absolutely insane. Reality just taking down 3 quickly, and that is also an absolutely amazing birthday present to the likes of Modern if he's able to win this, which also all of us here at Golden would like to wish Modern a happy birthday real quick. It is his birthday as he's playing this match, so if he is able to take this series back, $700 is a pretty good birthday present to yourself, I would say.
I gotta say the exact same, and well, I mean, his team is looking just primed to do it. Another first kill, and I think it really speaks dividends where Modern, that hasn't been a name we're saying all too much, and he's still popping off. I mean, everybody is just having a good game, having a good day right now. This has been one hell of a birthday present. And, I mean, although it's a 3 versus 3, maybe we have to ground ourselves to reality a little bit. This should be one that Anime Boomers could take away. They have to split the defense of Rebirth a little bit more, but Denia doesn't care at all. He's now pushing through the smoke, trying to find another one for the round. He's already up to 3. The ace is denied, but the 4K is still very much an opportunity available to him here. He gets the first 2, Booty Lord, but he's on the 4x3. The auto shotgun reigns supreme, and Rebirth are also reigning supreme in every possible facet.
God, that is so disheartening. And some of these Anime Boomer players are having a really solid game. I mean, Booty Lord is sitting on, what is it, like...
21.
Yeah, 21. He's having a really solid game, and despite that, they have made this map more competitive than the last. The rounds have been a lot closer, and the scoreline is somewhat closer, and of course, Blakers is going to help make that scoreline a little bit closer with that first kill, as well as Miniature taking down Reality, but we're just not seeing the players we need to show up right now in this map, and I think that's one of the main problems for the Anime Boomers, is they're getting steamrolled by the positioning of Rebirth, but also just by the players so far.
I think confidence is maybe starting to bite Rebirth a little bit in the back now. They're going for something a bit crazy, you know, pushing down towards mid, going for things that you otherwise would not do in a disciplined setting, and they're starting to get punished for it a little bit more. So again, yeah, you can start bringing up those silver linings from Anime Boomers a little bit more. Sure, the players that need to step up haven't been. You know, I'm looking at Sora in particular, who was a big name, I think, heading into this one here. He's on 10 kills now. I don't know what Blakers was trying to do, but he's going to go down. He's just trying to give Sora another opportunity to find the triple, I suppose. But, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that there are a couple of silver linings that Anime Boomers can take from this one. It's not the end of the road just yet. But yeah, I mean, still a long way to go.
Yeah, but I just, because I know I actually have been somewhat made fun of by some of the viewers of this league for over-analyzing the psychological part of this game, but this is a very high-stakes match, just money-wise. This is, I mean, one of the biggest prize pools that this level of CS has seen this year. It's one of the higher ones that you'd expect. Normally, you're closer to 100 to 500, so the fact that this best of 3 alone is deciding $700 to the winner. Going into these clutches that the Anime Boomers are having to do, going up against match point and series point, that has to be so much weight on their shoulders, so much worry. Because if they lose, they do still get money, but of course they want the full pot, they want the glory, and they want the gold.
I mean, they just might get it. This is a round that's probably going to slip away from them yet again, and you're talking about weight on the shoulders right now. I think Booty Lord has a lot of weight on his shoulders at the moment. Look at this, 23 kills just to get up towards the site. He still went down. It's looking a little bit more convincing, but it's like at the same time, you know, Rebirth, I feel like they have yet to go Super Saiyan. Yeah, you know, they have really yet to show off pretty much everything that they got in store. They're still going for a bit of a, you know, some silly decision making. And so I'm a bit scared of what could potentially happen once Rebirth actually gets some more guns in their hands, because it's starting to slip away from them just a little bit. Just a little bit. There's still 7 to go before we even touch OT.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know.
I'm really surprised that 2 of the players for Rebirth go for a buy here, that being Retro and Sezi. Sezi goes ahead and buys an M4, whereas his teammate Retro buys down to 150, but that's with a Deagle, full armor, and a smoke. I'm surprised any investment came through, because Rebirth, if they did save this, they have the money to go into the next round with full buys. But, you know, as I say that, Sezi gets the first kill with that M4, already putting it to work. Maybe the purchase was worth it.
I mean, a little bit more. I think it would help taking down Sora, but there's still a really long way to go before this round is even done. I mean, we saw it work out for them on Mirage, but this seems like a different anime boomer than we saw previously. Modern gets one on the ENG as well, and this pit stack is actually starting to do them rather good. Another rifle, this time in the hands of Modern. He also having one. I mean, I still don't count them into this round. Anime boomers are looking a little bit more refreshed and should be able to just kind of sit on this. They haven't gotten the bomb down. They're afraid to do just that. They're fine going for kills, and they're getting them. Not without its consequences. Oh my god, I think you're right about that investment.
Oh, Lord.
Please don't let this be the way to go. I think it just might see it. It's miniature against 3. Finds number 1. Number 2 should actually be in his favor, but number 3 still remains a question mark. Little do they know, he's just lurking around the porch. Actually gets number 2 as well. That was one he really needed to find. It's not over till it's over. But it is over now. There you have it. Rebirth with an extremely dominant 2-0. I don't even know what to say. I mean, again, I think we all said it. We are just mind blown by that one, Colin.
Yeah, that is insane. I mean, we said it was anyone's game at the start of it. We had these, you know, unknown pieces of these players coming in, these stand-ins that we didn't know, but the fact that Rebirth not only took it in a 2-0 fashion, but both maps really convincingly with their core players, not one of those stand-in players, that's absolutely insane. But at the end of the day, Rebirth played some wonderful CS, and that decides our Golden League Pot of Gold tournament winners. So Rebirth are now the winners of the entire tournament.
You know, I would sing happy birthday to Modern right now, but I think he has already gotten something better than anyone could have hoped for. $700? Like, this is like, again, one kind of, I don't even know how to describe, like, how this team just showed up on a completely different level. This did not look like the same anime boomers, and I guess in essence, you know, they had 2 different players, but like Rebirth, they looked so comfortable with Reality. And Reality didn't even have like the craziest series. He had some really good moments on Inferno, but it just felt one-sided all the way through.
Yeah, and it was just a difficult match. I don't think we saw the anime boomers at their top level today, which is very sad, but sometimes that's how it is. That's how it is. Also, I do believe we are going to work on real quickly getting one of the star players for the Rebirth side, that being Retro, into here real quick. So let's see if we can get him in here. I'm going to go ahead and message one of our admins and see if they can get him into this TeamSpeak.
Well, I can't wait for Retro to finally clear up why he told me his name was pronounced Ret Boy. Oh, you are? Perfect. Hi. And, Retro, are you in here?
Hi.
Yo,
hey,
what's
man.
up?
What's
How you
up?
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I mean, look, I'm feeling good, but not nearly as good as you. I'm not... Okay, well, first off, I think I need to ask the question, what was that Mirage game? Like, I don't think I've ever seen a performance that good from you, I think ever? And that's really saying something? Like, how?
Honestly, I woke up this morning with a big bright smile, and I was like, today's the day. If I'm ever gonna do something, it's gonna be today. And then I, drank some coffee, put a little sugar, a little creamer, half and half, and played this game. Things went my way.
It did. It overwhelmingly did. Colin, what's your question? I feel like I accidentally cut you off.
No worries. I have to ask just because, as a team, Rebirth, you guys did go into the last game, and while you didn't play in that game, you guys did fall to the hands, or at least Rebirth fell to the hands of the Anime Boomers in the last game. What sort of preparation did you guys do as a team going into this best of 3?
Pretty much, they made the wise decision to let, me play. And I expected nothing but dominance overall, and it happened.
I mean, I guess if I can just ask a follow-up question in that regard, is were you guys prepared to deal with this new Anime Boomers with 2 different players?
And in my opinion, it made it even easier. It's because these are, like the ENG and Miniature, they're actually people I recognize, so I'm not, like, if I die to someone I don't know, bruh, that did not just happen, but for those 2, like, okay, good shot, it's never gonna happen again,
Oh my god. That is,
Right.
that's
So
confidence right there.
it was a little bit of, made it easier going against something that you've probably gone against before.
Yeah, I've played against these 2 a lot more than I played against the other 2, like, I don't even know if I played against the other 2 in my life, actually, but these 2 I've definitely played against, so, like, there's no really big random factor coming in. It's just like, you play the game, just be better, and you'll win.
All right, well,
hey, it worked out.
Yeah, I'll ask one more question, and then we'll let you go ahead and celebrate your victory. But also, with the bringing in of Reality as a sub for this game, was that a choice by you or by the rest of the team? Because I know that you've played with him before on Recon 5, I believe.
Yeah, it was a combination. We wanted to up the ante and win the game pretty convincingly, make it much easier. Reality's my boy, so I wanted to play something with him. I haven't played with him in a while, taking a break from CS.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I got to play with Reality. It just, pre-wins. We've never lost a game together in our life, so.
Well, you have kept up that flawless streak, and hell, what kind of performance was that?
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing stuff from you. If you have any parting words, feel free to say them, but we'll go ahead and let you get back to celebrating with your team.
Can I do a shout out?
Of course.
Shout out to Cole and Joe. You guys are the reason. You guys were watching this game, and that's why I played good. And yeah, shout out to my parents.
All right. Have a nice day, man.
Thank you so much, Retro. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Stay healthy.
You too. Well, Colin, with that, what are your parting words, thoughts on that match, I suppose? Because there was a lot to that one, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, there was 2 sides of that map. On one side, Rebirth played some of the best CS we've seen from them this entire tournament, and it's the best CS I've seen from them ever. I've been trying to follow them outside of this tournament as well. I mean, they actually have, coming up later this week, they have another finals in the Olympus tournament. So this is the strongest I've ever seen this roster. I mean, I'm surprised that with a new player that they haven't played before, and Retro, who hasn't been playing for them recently coming in, they were able to play so amazingly, not only individually as a team, but I also don't think we saw Sora's Anime Boomers at their full 100%. I mean, of course, that's, due to circumstance, but I'm sad that we weren't able to see the Anime Boomers come out with their 100% and clash against this Rebirth side that we've never seen. But despite everything, this is how the chips fall, and Rebirth are, of course, our winners, and, deservingly so. They played an absolutely amazing game.
Yeah, it's hard to ever take that away from them, because, I mean, they had just incredible solo performances as well. They looked practice ready for everything. It's hard to take away anything from it. You can say, like, oh yeah, the other team had 2 stand-ins, yeah, but they also had a stand-in. Their stand-in did amazing in that Deke force-up and the pistol. Like, it's a very quick one. It's quick and dirty, but yeah, I mean, it's how the chips fall. It's how the cookie crumbles, whatever kind of fancy phrase you want to put for it. It did overwhelmingly go the way of Rebirth, and they really, really outclassed they're the better team today. I guess that's what we can really say for now.
Yeah, that was, I mean, all in all, that was a super entertaining game to watch. One of my favorite of the entire tournament. I mean, we saw some amazing stuff coming through from everyone. I think at this point, we'll give one last thanks to all our sponsors, and then we'll probably go ahead and say goodbye to the Pot of Gold tournament. So, of course, as always, thank you to firstly Cygnus Esports. Cygnus Esports have been a big part of why we've been able to put on this tournament at the scale we put it on with and with the prize pool we put it on with. So, a huge thanks to them. We couldn't have done this without them. Also, a huge thanks to RTS partners. They've also helped contribute to this prize pool, as well as the fact that they've been involved with us every single step of the way. We wouldn't have this level of production value. We wouldn't have this level of outreach if it wasn't for RTS partners. So, of course, if you want to grow your brand, if you're an esports player or an esports organization looking for the next step, getting to that higher level, RTS partners is your go-to. And, of course, as well, thank you to Sector? Why do I keep doing that? Sector 6, who are an absolutely wonderful clothing brand that help you and your team get the clothes that you need to look the part when you compete at higher levels. They are able to get you jerseys, jackets, sweats, even sweatbands, arms, stuff like that. They have such a giant catalog, and using the code GL20, you can get 20% off valid and select purchases. And I guess finally, I would like to thank everyone who has played in the tournament, everyone who has watched the tournament, and everyone who helped make this such an amazing tournament, including my co-caster, Ito.
Thank you so much. It was amazing, honestly, to have this experience. Going into a new environment especially, there's so much amazing stuff I can take away from it. So thank you, Colin, for letting me join the fun, and this was next level.
Of course, so I hope everyone had a wonderful day watching this final best of 3. Congratulations once again to Rebirth for playing an absolutely amazing game and taking home the gold, and we will see you in the next tournament.
Follow your dreams to a place, a space, the grace that takes you home. You don't have to tell me once or twice, wonder why we're here. We just gotta stop the flood.